Welcome to Matt Martin Real Estate Management Data Security Training. Let's start by talking about you. We know that each realtor is their own business. Each business is run by its own set of rules, governed by a code of ethics. In the world of financial solutions, such as short sales, there is another code, and that code is data security. A common realtor is accustomed to protecting the best interest of their clients and keeping confidential information to themselves. But far too often does a realtor fail to acknowledge the severity and importance of data security. As you become an MMREM realtor, we demand that you practice data security in both your physical and your web-based environments. You now have a new responsibility, protecting your clients' non-public information. First, you need to be compliant with the Privacy Act. This means that as a realtor handling seller financials, you must establish appropriate administrative, technical, and physical safeguards. For example, when you're in your office and you leave your desk, you need to log out of your computer. And after you're done with the files in your filing cabinet, you need to make sure they're under lock and key. Now, whereas you might seem like you're in a nice, safe environment, you never know when someone could come in and take a file or accidentally go through the trash can, leaving your client and you very vulnerable. According to the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999, all realtors are required to provide reasonable safeguards for sensitive information. So what's reasonable? At MMREM, we just say, think of your client as if it were yourself. You wouldn't leave your name and your address and your social security number lying around so someone could access bank records, medical records, and things of that such. And you don't go around online probably giving away your name and address and phone number so that different solicitors and advertisements can find you wherever you are at either your place of business or in the comfort of your own home. So just treat your client like yourself, and that's reasonable. Now let's stop for a second. All this talk about data security has got me tired. We hope it doesn't have you tired. Actually, it should be more of a realtor growth tool than a realtor hindrance. What we've found is that data security helps to instill a level of trust in most of our partners and in our sellers. It helps to gain a competitive edge by being a responsible realtor, and that's really what we want to achieve. Now, I'm sure at least a few of us grew up wanting to be a hero at some point of our lives. Now is our chance. You've got the opportunity to protect your sellers. For as many as 10 million Americans a year are victims of identity theft. Will you be the hero? So what is sensitive information? Sensitive information is a person's name in conjunction with any other identifiable information, such as a social security number, a date of birth, a mother's maiden name, etc. Corporate sensitive information is a little different and is any proprietary information, business tactics, spreadsheets, trade secrets, or financial information. Oftentimes as a realtor, you don't think about all the sensitive information that you actually have. Your business practice, your business models, any of your current financials that help you operate your business, that's all sensitive. Same thing with your clients. Anything that can help identify them, such as a name in conjunction with a social security number and a date of birth, could help criminals gain access to a lot of their bank accounts, and you must keep that confidential at all costs. Here's a tip. With your physical files, the files that you look at every day and flip through that keep your contracts, keep your seller financials, and your HUD ones, make sure there's only a limited amount on your desk at any given time, or on your computer at any given time. Number one, we think you'll find you'll be more organized, and number two, you'll have less of a risk of somebody else finding what you have left behind. Have you ever heard the saying, you're on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know? Well, it's pretty much similar with your files. Only those who need to know about your seller's financials or their situation, which is yourself, is the only one that really needs to know. Just keep that in mind. The last tip I'm going to share with you about physical files is to limit the exposure. And I'm not talking about sunlight. What I'm saying is when you're sitting at your desk, and you have to get up to go to the bathroom, or because your boss calls you, or if you're just running to get a Coke, make sure you lock your computer when you leave. You can do this by simply hitting the Windows key and the L, and you'll be logged out. With that being said, make sure that you are password protecting your login. If you don't know how to do that, feel free to call us at MMREM. Also, limit the amount of files you have on your desk to 3. It's a key of 3, and that's what we say here. No more than 3, no problems for me. So, it's time to lock up. Just make sure that all your files are under lock and key in some kind of cabinets before you leave at the end of the day. If you're the last person to leave, make sure you do a walkthrough to make sure there's no files laying around at any of the other employees' desks, and this will be good business practice for you in the future. I mean, let's be honest. Before you go to bed at night, you usually walk around your house to make sure the door is locked and the windows are shut, don't you? Let's talk about passwords, the electronic form of a key. This is a way to gain access to any of your files in your web-based environments. Most passwords are probably the person's name and or their birthday. You know those common questions and common passwords that you have. I'm sure you have at least one of those. But what we want you to think about is get creative with your password. Remember, you're protecting your client's personal information. These passwords should be at least 8 characters long, including some numbers and special characters. That gives you an expert difficulty rating in terms of trying to gain access to what you're trying to protect. Using appropriate mail service. Any sensitive information is to be sent using encryption software or secure messaging. When you're sending emails, you're sending information across a wide world of the internet. Anybody can be seeing this information, so make sure you protect it. And remember our limited use policy. You never know who the person on the other end of the line is sharing that information with. So if you're going to be sending passwords or loan numbers or bank account information, make sure that you're securing that with one of your passwords that are at least 8 characters long, has some numbers and special characters, just to be sure. Further on encrypting sensitive emails, we just wanted to give you an example. We use PKZip. And just remember, when you're providing someone with the password, be sure to do it over a landline telephone or text message. Make sure you know who you're letting in your house. Outside equipment such as laptops, USB drives, and recordable devices should not be in the office. If you are, make sure they're on a sign-in, sign-out basis so that the manager knows this. These items should be heavily regulated in your office to make sure data is secure. But we all know a lot of us that work hard work from home from time to time. So when you're transporting this equipment, make sure you practice the same data security measures you do in the office outside as well. In closing to our data security process, we understand that human resource is the most valuable resource to any real estate transaction because that's who you are. You are the business, you are the product, and you are the service as a realtor. But when you're hiring assistants or team members or other employees in the office, just make sure that they have criminal background checks and credit checks. It doesn't mean we can't forgive people for their past, but you need to be aware of who is handling the information that you're giving them. Congratulations, you have just finished the Matt Martin Real Estate Management Data Security Training.